Nicole, have either of you ever been on the financial side of arranging a funeral? No? Oh wow, like, you guys are blessed. Do you know anybody who's been through that? You do? Okay. So, so you've seen kind of how that works. The average cost of a funeral these days is $14,000. And what a lot of families don't know is that life insurance doesn't handle those claims the way they used to. It used to be the family would take the life insurance policy and give it to the funeral home, and then it would serve as a collateral on the cost up until the point that it got paid out. But insurance companies used to have to pay on a claim within 24 days, and now they have upwards of 60 days to pay out. Why do you think that's changed? Why do you think they did that?
I don't know.
It's because of interest. They're making millions and millions of dollars on the interest of that during that time, so they have no real incentive to pay people out in a timely fashion. It basically just comes down to corporate greed. So another thing that's happening right now is there's two companies, one out of Texas, one out of Canada, called SCI and then the Alderwood Group, and they're going around and buying up all the local funeral homes and cemeteries they can get their hands on, trying to corner their market and become the basically the Walmart of the funeral home industry. So the reason I bring them up is their corporate policy is to get up to 50% of the costs up front. And so, I don't know how you guys' financial situation is looking right now, but most of the families I sit down with don't have $7,000 lying around to pay for a funeral. And the ones that do, they really, they want to hold on to that money because of all the costs that can come in after the funerals. Wow. So that's why we have our Freedom of Choice certificate here. So basically, you guys take this into any funeral home in the country and just hand it to them. All I have to do is sit down, go discuss the price of the funeral, so it'll be that $14,000 for instance, and then sign here. The funeral home will sign as the witness, the director will sign as the witness, and then they can go back and be with the kids. So so Matt, as long as Nicole keeps your funeral under $20,000, and Matt, you keep Nicole's funeral under $20,000, there's not one out-of-pocket cost. Now, if we went to the so as soon as Nicole, you leave the funeral home, the director's going to do two things. He's going to call either this number to talk to the corporate office in Texas, or this one to talk to the corporate office in Syracuse. He's going to ask two questions. So the first one's going to be, are you enrolled in the program? When I leave here today, you guys will be, so that's not going to be a problem. And the second question he's going to ask is, how much money do you have to work with? Now, if we told them they had that you guys had $20,000 to work with, how much do you think that funeral's magically going to cost? Yeah, exactly, $20,000. It's not how it should work, and we don't let it work that way. So what we do is we'll cut a check for exactly this amount, whatever was negotiated already, to the funeral home, not a penny more, not a penny less, and then we cut a check for the rest of it, to whatever the difference is, to you, Nicole, and the kids. It's the cleanest, kindest, most compassionate way to take care of what's going to happen to all of us. And funeral homes love these things because they do know that it's backed by large unions like yours, so they know they're going to get paid. Have you guys ever heard of a prearranged funeral? Are you familiar with that? Yeah, so it's a lot like a prearranged funeral, except it's permanent and portable. And with a prearranged funeral, they can be really expensive too. So they can be upwards of $100 a month, and if somebody's paying into that, and then something happens to them, a year later, they've only got what they paid into it. So yeah, $1,200 to help pay for a funeral, that's great. It's really helpful, but it's got a long way to go before it can cover $14,000 funeral expense, right? Awesome. So then this next part here, this is why everyone enrolls in our program. So this is our living benefits. I'm gonna stop getting you guys killed and start just getting you hurt. So every time you guys go to an emergency room, so anything that's an accident, so not the sniffles or I don't feel good, fever, or anything like that, but get hurt playing sports, trip and fall in the backyard, slip on the ice and smack your noggin kind of thing. Doesn't matter if you go to the ER, urgent care, primary care physician, anytime you go out, it's going to be $300 paid out directly to you. The only caveat to that is you do have to be seen within 72 hours. You have as much time as it takes to file a claim, but you need to receive treatment in 72 hours, or it's just not considered an emergency. Does that seem reasonable?
It does.
Awesome. So then, that's not really life-changing, but if you're like me, $300, it's $300. Never gonna say no to it, right? Now this next part, this is life-changing. So, let's pretend that it's a little bit more serious. You're waking up in the morning, on your way to work one early morning, December or January, so it's still dark in the morning and the coffee isn't quite kicked in, and you're rolling through the intersection, somebody blows the red light and T-bones you, Matt. The last thing you remember is the glass breaking, the matter crunching, and then you wake up in a hospital bed. So what this is going to do is it's going to pay you out $600, not per week, but per day that you're in the hospital. And again, that's going to go directly to you. Not to the hospital, not to the doctors, not to the thing. It's just going to come as a check directly to you. So if you're in there for 10 days, you'll get a check for $6,000 up to a full 365 days. Now, let's say that's a little bit more serious, and you wind up in the ICU. That amount's actually going to double to $1,200, and that's because, Matt, if you're in the ICU, where's Nicole going to be?
Right by my side.
Right by your side, right? So you're at both incomes. So it's going to pay $1,200 per day in the ICU up to 14 days. And the reason it caps there is because the reality is if you're in the ICU for more than 14 days, chances are you're going to be using the freedom of choice. But if for whatever reason you do stay in the ICU longer than that, or if after that you get a little bit better, you don't lose the coverage. It just reverts back to the $600 for another 365 days. So like I said, this is the reason why pretty much everyone enrolls. All right, great. So you want to go with option A? That's fantastic. So now this is the next part, is the best part of my job. So because you guys did basically took advantage of this and decided to protect your family today, what we actually allow you to do is to extend this invitation out to some of your closest friends and family members as well. So who's the first person going to be?
John.
John Fowler. Okay. What's he do for a living?
Carpenter.
He's a carpenter. All right. And is he married?
Yes.
All right. What's his spouse's name?
Julie.
Julie. And what does she do?
She's a nurse.
She's a nurse. Awesome. That's fantastic. And do they have any kids?
They do. They have 3.
3 kids. Okay. And what's like I know you said he's your brother, so what's like the craziest story that you can tell me without getting in trouble?
Skydiving.
You went skydiving?
Yep.
Oh man, that sounds like a lot of fun. Alright, and what was his address? He's right here in Rochester?
Yep.
Alright. And the phone number for him?
585
Mm-hmm.
732
Okay.
5320.
5320. Awesome. And can you do me a favor? So if you can just basically reach out and let him know I'm going to be calling him, that way he doesn't treat me like a telemarketer. Because if I get treated like a telemarketer, honestly, I'm not going to call him back because I've got a lot of other union members I need to get in touch with. So is that something you could do for me?
Yes.
Just let him know I'll be calling. Awesome. And then when you do that, again, do me a favor and just don't tell him some big scary bearded guy's going to come out and try to sell him insurance. Because you know what you just went through. It's a lot more than just life insurance, right? The living benefits. So tell him about all the great things you got. The living benefits, the free benefits as well. That $2,000 policy, he's going to account for that, and especially the child safe ID kits, and that precursor to a will and testament too. So actually, while I'm cleaning up here, if you want to reach it, could you do me a favor and reach out and give him a call? Because he's way more likely to pick up your phone than he is mine, right? Awesome.